So we're going to be working on problem number three. No, it says problem number two, but for this assignment, it should be problem number three. So I'm going to do this back portion first, since we know it's flush in the back, and extrude it out. Then I will draw this section of the front face, extrude it out by itself a certain depth, and then we'll go back and we'll make our cuts. So let's start a sketch on our front plane. So I'm going to be looking at this view here. This is the sketch I want to make. So I'll start and cut these out afterwards. So I'll start just by making, let me zoom in a little bit here, by making this line. So let's make a horizontal line. We need to find this distance is given to us to be 34. So this line is 34 units, millimeters actually. So let's make sure we're in the correct units here. And we'll hop back into our sketch. All right, so 34 millimeters. Then we need to find out how much this is tall. Um, this dimension is given to us 32, so we can make a line here to be 32. And let's just finish this as a box. So let's box this off. Now we can cut out these chamfers with our chamfer tool. So this is where it's at, the chamfer tool. Let's go for an angle distance chamfer. So this distance is given to us to be 7 and the angle is 45. We'll type in 7 and 45. Then if we select the corners that we want to chamfer them for us. Now this one as well. And we can trim this line by this dimension. So there's 14 units to the end point of this line from this edge. So I could make a line. This would have been easier to do this before I made the chamfers, just using math. Um, I've already made them, so I'm going to use some lines. So I would be able to mark where I can trim this. So again, the end of this line is 14 units from this edge. And now we can make our angled line. So we can pick up another line from this endpoint. I would make it, I'm not sure about how long it is, but I do know the angle. So I'll just make it a little bit past this line. Now I can come back and dimension the angle. So 360 degrees would be flat. 360 minus this 10 would give me 350 degrees. So that would be this line here. Now I could trim these two pieces. So this is that first shape. Then we still have to make the rest of this. So I'll start with this top shape. So if I'm here at this point, I can make this a horizontal line, which would be 86 minus 34 that we initially had. So we can make another line, and this line would be 86 minus 34 units long. That puts me at the end point over here. Now if I want to find this point, I can subtract 24 from 58. would give me the distance, this overall distance. And then if I subtract 19 from it, would give me the distance from this point to here. So I'll do that. Make another vertical line. And this one would be 58 minus 19 minus 24. So now that puts me at this point. Let's continue. We have a vertical line. Um, let's also make this a chamfer. So let's make this vertical line all the way to 24 units. And then, so that puts us here. And we can make this horizontal line that is 32 units over. So this line is 32. And now we can make that chamfered edge. Again, this is where our chamfer tool is at. Let's go angle distance once more, since we have our distance is 5. Angle is 45. Okay, so we have that chamfer done. Let me drag this out or away just for some added clarity. Should probably do the same over here. All right, so we could connect this segment with an arc. We could use a 3-point arc. So I selected my first 2 points to be my tangents. But before I change the radius on this, let me fix these endpoints. Now that the endpoints are fixed, let me change my radius to 19. So that gives me that arc. Now we need this edge. Do we have an angle for that? No. The way I could find this line, this angled line, is if I make a point, I could then, oh, by the way, the point is, function is here under your text. Now, if I could dimension this point, just as it is in the drawing, so this distance should be 29 units. Before we do that, I don't think anything shifted, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So before we do that, let's fix what we have. And let's only fix what is currently. Okay. I don't think it'll move. I'll double check afterward just to be sure. Um, but again, this is 29 units. Okay. And then also, if we dimension it once more in this direction, it should be 19 units. I don't think we need to fix anything else. So now we have this point, so we can delete this line because we have this endpoint, we have this point, so we can connect these two. That gives us this line. Now we can find this length. So we don't need to find the length of this line because we can make a circle from this, a center circle. from this point. So let me trim this line so I have a point to use. So this is my center, and it gives me my radius to be 29. Now this horizontal line, I know will intersect that arc. So I made it a little bit past. I trim there, trim here. Don't need this as well. So I'm left with this 29 radius circle. And then finally I can fillet the edge to be radius 5. So we'll use our fillet feature of radius 5 between this and this. Yeah, that's fine. I could delete it. It's not a problem to us right now because we want this shape anyway. I believe I could also delete this line. This is my overall general shape. So let me zoom out so I can see or show how the depth we want for this extrusion. So if we were sketching on the back face, um, the depth we would need to go, let's see, 12, 24. It would be 44 minus 19 because I want to go all the way up to here. So let's do 44 minus 19. I just saw that I forgot to make this hole. Actually, th both of them as well. But that's okay. Let's go back into our sketch, even though we've already extruded. And let's add those holes in there. So let's make a circle. I know this one should be, the center should be, see that's 14 from the ground and 14 from the edge. So let's dimension this first. From the edge, we're already 14, I believe, correct? And from the bottom should also be 14. Just making sure nothing changed. And this dimension for this circle should be given to us somewhere. There's also another sheet of sketches which we can find this information on. So if the diameter is 14, that means the radius is 7. And for this other circle, it's also 14 from the top and the edge, but it has a diameter of 11. So let's make a circle over here. And let's dimension it from its center. It's already 14, it appears. To this edge now, from the center once more to the top, should also be 14. So let's change that to 14. And again, this is a 11 unit diameter circle, so its radius would be 11 divided by 2. All right, now when we exit, it might freak out on us, which is okay. And it looks like it didn't. So now we have our holes. Um, I think I'll cut at the end. So I'd make a separate sketch on this front face now to extrude this 19 units forward, and then we'll go back and make our cuts. So let's make a sketch on this face. And it's convenient that I already have all this traced out. Um, Again, you could make separate or use multiple features on the same sketch. So we would have sketched this all out the first time. We could have extruded different ways, but I chose to do this method where you have each feature has its own sketch, which again, either way is perfectly acceptable. Um, Need to recreate this arc. So a 3-point arc would work. And I'll tangent there, tangent there. There's my radius. Also, we could do the same for this fillet or this fillet. Um, oh, I just realized I'm not supposed to be. This bottom portion will not be extruded any further, so I can stop here. The only portion of this front view that I'm drawing right now is upper right hand portion. Um, so let's finish this arc over here. Where's my endpoint? There's my endpoint. There's my radius. That puts me at this point here. So I'll draw a line straight down. And then also a line in the horizontal direction. I could trim this piece. And I also need to recreate this circle so it doesn't make that extrusion because we don't want this part extruded. So this is the second shape that I will be extruding forward. Let's go to extrude. And we can find this value to be 19. Okay. So the first cut I'm gonna make is this center cut here. So I would like to make a reference plane for that one. I need to find out. It is 12 units in front of the first sketch, the first plane that we used. We'll leave as our front. So let's create a reference plane from the front as our reference. And a total of 12 units would be the offset. And this is the sketch I want to make. So this shape here. Let me make a sketch on that plane. Okay. I had to stop and look at this for a minute to see how would I would get this arc. Um, so it's shown here on this image, and then this face is shown here. So we have the radius. This first point we're going to assume is a midpoint to this arc, which also means we need to grab this arc first, or no, we'll do it from here. So also we need this point down here that is 36 from the top, this point down here. So I make a line that is 36 units long. Wherever this line intersects with this edge, that would be my first point. So I can use the point feature to hover over at this intersection. I mean, just to double check, you can use your dimension and make sure that this is 36 from this top, which it is. So this will be our first point for that arc. And our second point again will be the midpoint. It's given here, this yellow dot. So let's do an arc. We have our first point here. Oh, didn't select it. Let's do an arc, first point here, our midpoint, and then our radius is our third um, dimension. So let's fix these endpoints first. Then I'll dimension this 41 units in radius. Now I can finish this shape. So let me trace. So let me finish off this shape. And also this arc. I can use my arc function once more. Okay, so I have a closed off region that I can cut away from. So if I extrude cut, that would be the section that I'll be cutting out. And then also the depth for it is given in, where is this view here? So a total of 24 units. Let's cut this 24 units. Oh, I accidentally extruded instead of cutting. So let me delete that extrusion by right-clicking on it. And this time choose extrude cut. The cut that I want to make is on my third sketch, so I can select that sketch. Wrong direction, so let's flip that. Let's bring it this way. Um, this is the region I want to cut out. Again, 24 units. All right. So it looks like it worked that time. So let me show our progress here. This might be a little bit of a lengthy video. So we have this cut made. We have all of this back region done. And we have the overall shape already done as well. The last thing to do is to cut away these two to create this hollow effect that's going on. So let's start a sketch on this front face. And let's start a new sketch. Let me leave this. Let's do a new sketch on this front face, sketch 5. And the first cut we could make is this one, since we already have that sketch kind of done. So if we show a previous sketch, it'll appear so we can use those reference, or we can use it as a reference. So let me retrace these edges and also these arcs. And the ones that I want to offset are going to be these outer ones. As you can see here, this inner cut is not all the way to the outside. It has this lip here. So I've already traced out the lines on the outside, and we're told that this shell thickness is to be 1 unit. So if I offset, let me find my offset function. Here it is. Let me offset by 1 unit, and let me select the lines that I want to offset. This is the wrong direction. I want to go inward, so let me reverse the direction. 1 unit, that's good. And we don't need this arc to be offsetted. that means we would need to extend these lines to intersect. So if we drop down our trim function, we have our extend. Let's extend these two lines to intersect with this arc by clicking on them. Now that they're extended, we can delete these outer lines. We will not be needing them for our cut. Now I can trim this portion and this portion as well. So this cut, let's find a depth for it. Is there a section view maybe we can use? So we know this thickness should be 1 based on the shell thickness that we're given is 1. So if we do some math, uh, if we could figure out what this thickness is, and then leave 1 remaining unit for that, then we can see how much we need to cut from the front. So if overall we're 44, let me grab my calculator here to do some math. Overall we are 44, and we subtract 12, then 24. That gives us a remainder of 8 units here. And again, if we need 1 unit remaining for that thickness to be 1, that means we need to cut this back 7 units. So when we go to our cut, we're going to cut this a total of 7 units in that direction. It looks fine. And that should result in a thickness here of 1 unit. We need 1 more cut to go. Again, so we could have sketched these on the same sketch. I'm doing separate sketches for each feature. Either way works. But let's do, we're on sketch 6 at the moment. Let's do this cut here. So we'll do a similar thing we did, a similar method to what we just did. So we'll trace the outside lines, and then we'll offset them 1 unit inward to get that shell thickness. Believe these are the lines I need. Um, I need this one as well. Okay, so this is the shape that I'm going for. Now let me offset not just that one, but all of them at the same time. So I need this one as well. We're gonna offset these. See, this one needs to be offset inward, so we'll do that one separately. And these outer ones need to be offset in the opposite direction, also by 1 unit. Okay, so again, we could delete these outer lines that we do not need for our cut. Sorry, my computer is a little slow. I have a lot of things open at the moment, trying to make these videos. And now we can trim this portion, these lines, no longer needed. These as well. And I believe this outer line might need to go as well. Finish trimming here. All right, now that I finished trimming, let me go to extrude cut and find the depth for this. It's a good thing we have this section view here. So it tells us that this portion of it is 12 units, so we need to cut the rest of it out. And if the overall is 44, then this cut depth should be 44 minus the 22. I'm sorry, 12 given here. And this is the region we want to cut out. I thought that would have looked funny. So I did make a mistake on my first sketch, not my second. My first sketch is fine. I'm sorry, my second is correct. So this sketch, let me go back and edit and make this edit. Seems my laptop needs to be charged. Let me connect that. Hopefully that didn't cause any weird things to happen. This cut needs to be made wider. So let me offset this line in this direction by 1 mm. I didn't want to do that whole thing, but it did it anyway. So let me go back and delete these outer lines. Just needed this arc to be offset. So I can delete the inner arc and extend these lines. Finally, just make a trim. And now hopefully when I back out, that lip is no longer there, which it's not. And I could hide this plane that I'm no longer using. And also the sketch that was on there, as you can see, it's still shown in gray because I was using it earlier. But now that I don't need it, I can find that sketch, which is sketch 3, and just hide it. And let's move over to our isometric and compare it to the part. It looks like we have, let me zoom in on this. There it is. This might have been a little bit of a lengthy video, so I apologize for that. But there was a lot going on in this part. However, that is problem number 3 in the assignment, but number 2 on the sheet.